Morning. I'm Judge Ryan Sullivan. I'm going to be doing the hearings today. And before we begin, Ms. Phelps, are there any cases you'd like me to turn to early on in the docket today?
Good morning, Your Honor. Darby Phelps for the state. I don't have any special requests regarding order this morning.
All right. And Ms. Phelps, might you know who we have someone joining us who's on a Samsung phone? I'm not sure who the individual is.
Your Honor, I'm not sure who that is either. We were able to make contact with a couple of named victims this morning. None of them indicated that they would be wanting to give a statement to the court, so I'm not sure who that is.
All right. Hi, could the user of Samsung let me know your name and what case you're here for today?
My name is Mara Boyack, and I'm trying to find out about Scott Serletta.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Boyack. I will turn to that case early on in the docket today. Mr. Watson, are there any cases you'd like me to turn to early on this morning?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so we will start first appearances with Scott Serletta.
Yeah. Come over that one.
Guys, go ahead and stand up, scoot towards the big call. You call up, you're gonna walk through.
Or two. Just raise the guy. Yeah.
Good morning. Probable cause has been found in this case, and Mr. Serletta, you indicated you were going to hire your own attorney. I do not see an attorney here with you. Were you able to reach out to anyone to represent you?
I was not. No, I haven't figured out how to use the telephone in there yet.
Okay, let me ask you this, sir. How much income do you currently make per week?
Per week, it depends, but usually about take home about $1,500.
And how many people are in your household?
Just myself and my fiance.
All right. Tell me a little bit about your debts and your liabilities, sir.
Well, I obviously have bills. I pay rent. I've got credit card debts. I've got obviously insurance and things like that. I don't like owe any huge amounts of money. I mean, I do owe on my credit cards and things like that.
Okay, so are you kind of breaking even each week, sir, or?
I mean, no, not really. I put a little bit away. I try as best I can to save a little bit of money, but I'm not putting a lot of money away. No.
All right. So, sir, you're kind of right on the borderline. I'm not going to appoint the public defender's office today, but they can represent you for the bail hearing. So when you get out of custody, or if you get out or not, either way, you're going to have to look for representation and see if you can afford it. If you cannot, we can come back and have this discussion again.
Okay.
But let's begin the bail hearing, starting with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we were able to speak with Ms. Boyack this morning. She indicated to us that she does not want a no contact order. She says she's not concerned for her safety. She denies previous violence. The state's concern here is the alleged facts of the case and how they're kind of inconsistent with what we're hearing from her now, specifically that defendant punched her in the head multiple times, followed her to the kitchen, and attempted to hit her again. And she was so concerned for her safety at that point that she stabbed him. Officers spoke with the victim's friend on scene, who told them that the victim called her and whispered for help before the line disconnected. I would also point out that the defendant says that they always fight, but not this bad. So as far as criminal history, Mr. Serletta scores a 5 on the risk assessment. Notably, Your Honor, he says he has no alternative place to stay. As far as criminal history, he's got a non-extraditable warrant out of California for grand larceny. The date of that warrant is from 2013. He has a misdemeanor conviction for DUI out of Hawaii in 2020. He does have a felony arrest for domestic battery out of California in 2012 with no disposition, and a misdemeanor conviction for domestic battery in 2012 out of California. He's got another DUI in 2011 out of California, a contempt conviction out of Hawaii in 2004, and then he's got a misdemeanor conviction in 92 for occupant of motor vehicle exhibit firearm out of California. So most of his criminal history is pretty remote, but notably he does have a domestic battery conviction and a separate felony arrest for domestic battery with no disposition. That is very concerning, obviously in addition to the facts of this case. And so for all these reasons, Your Honor, the state is requesting bail in the amount of $15,000 with pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs and alcohol if he's able to post, no contact with the victim, and no firearms or weapons.
For the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. In speaking with Mr. Cerletta, we were able to verify some information, I think bringing his MPRA score down a little bit. One, he has been employed with Dan Marcel Construction for the past 4 years. Also, the residence, the address on Leadership Way in Reno. So that does, I believe, bring down his MPRA. He's just got points for age and prior misdemeanor. I think with that, I'd be asking for an OR release. I do understand the alleged victim, I believe, is here and can talk about a no contact order or what she would like in that regard. But I'd be asking for an OR release with pretrial services check-ins.
Thank you. Ms. Boyack, you do not have to say anything about bail or any conditions today, but if you would like to say something about it, I would be happy to listen.
I'm not sure exactly what to say. I'm hoping that you would grant him an OR. He's not a threat to me. I'm not concerned at all for my safety. And I just want him to come home.
Thank you. So I share some of the state's concerns that whatever took place on this night was so serious that the incident with the knife took place. There were other people who were potential witnesses. I am concerned. I'm also concerned that Mr. Cerletta has criminal history, not only regarding drinking and driving, but domestic violence. So some of it is remote in time. I'll give him that. And today he scores a moderate on the risk assessment, but there's also a non-extraditable warrant from another jurisdiction regarding a totally separate type of allegation. So I do have some concerns. Given that, I believe that some monetary bail is warranted, but I will do a reduced amount. It will be $5,000. It's bondable only. And if Mr. Cerletta posts this, which he will likely be able to do, I am going to include a no contact order for at least 30 days. Because again, the allegations here were relatively serious. So there will be a no contact order with this Boyack for 30 days. So what that means, sir, is that you will have to find somewhere else to stay, and that you cannot have contact with her by phone, by social media, through family and friends for 30 days. Now, normally, I would impose this no contact order for the life of the case, and sometimes that is months and months long. I'm not going to do that here, given her wishes, but I think a 30-day cooling off period is appropriate. And you are also going to be supervised by pretrial services, and you're going to have to start checking in with them right away. You're not allowed to have any weapons. So if you get in trouble for anything new while this case is going forward, or if you don't start checking in with them and following these rules, or if you violate the 30-day no contact order, then you can be returned to the jail, even if you post the bond. So make sure if you do post this, that you follow all of these conditions. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Boyack. The hearing for today is concluded, so feel free to log off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, next we'll follow along with the jails list. We have a first appearance for Myshan Brown.
You can hit that. Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah, through the door.
Thank you.
I don't know how to log off.
Good morning. Probable cause is found. The public defender is appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we were able to get in touch with the named victim this morning. She says she does want a no contact order. When asked if she's afraid of Mr. Brown, she said, I don't know. I would say yeah. She says this is the first time this has happened. There's been no previous incidents of violence between the two of them. And when we asked about mental health, drugs, or alcohol, she said he's schizophrenic and doesn't believe he has drug or alcohol issues. I would inquire with defense if they're seeking interim bail based on his competency court case for which he now has a hold.
So that would most likely be my ask. Yes, because he does have a case that's already in competency court.
Yes, I believe interim bail is therefore appropriate.
So, Your Honor, for interim bail, the state would recommend $10,000 with pretrial services supervision if he is able to post, and no contact with the victim as a condition and pursuant to statute, and no firearms or weapons.
So, Mr. Watson, would you like to say anything? I intend to follow that given the totality of the circumstances, including the pending competency matter.
Yes, I did see he's currently in competency court proceedings with another case that stayed, I believe, based on that. The only other additions that I see are, we did speak with his reference, his mother. He has lived at his address for the last 10 years. We also verified his employment and his phone number. So I think his MPRA score is a little bit inflated, but if you're going to set interim bail, then I would just submit with that.
Right. I will set interim bail. It'll be $10,000. That's bondable or 10% cash interim. No contact with Tamia Brown. That's effective immediately. So, sir, you cannot call her from the jail. Don't do that. All the calls are listened to and used against people on a regular basis, and pursuant to statute NRS 1784845 for 120 days. If you call her and violate the order, you can be charged with a totally separate offense. So make sure you do not call her. If this interim bail is posted, you'll be monitored by pretrial services and not allowed to have any weapons in addition. Thank you.
So 10% bail is like 1,000.
Yeah.
Next, we have a first appearance for Philip Brown.
Yeah.
Good morning. Probable cause has been found. The public defender is appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I noticed on his risk assessment, he was scored 0 points for felony convictions. He was booked on felon in possession of a firearm charge. And so I took a close look at his criminal history. It looks like he has an arrest for multiple controlled substances related offenses. Most of those were dismissed, but one of them, the possession of marijuana with intent to sell, out of Florida in 2024, by the way, indicates a disposition of adjudication withheld, but with 2 years probation. So it sounds like a diversion sort of situation to me. I'm not sure if that makes him a prohibited person. I'm going to have to look more into that. But right now, I think what we typically see is when, I know out of California, when a defendant is granted diversion and successfully completes the diversion, they're still a prohibited person. I don't know how it is with Florida, but I'll just proceed under the assumption that he is a prohibited person. And so with all that in mind, Your Honor, the state is requesting bail in the amount of $20,000 with pretrial services supervision if he's able to post, no firearms, and no contact with 4809 Kitsky Lane. So his criminal history is limited to that Florida case. However, of course, it's the facts of this case that are concerning to the state. Mr. Brown essentially is alleged to, it sounds like he's trying to run off a group of unhoused people that are camping over at that location. He was there one day, told them to scram, and he said, if you don't, I'll be back tomorrow. He came back the next day and brandished a firearm at them while threatening them. And so this is just obviously very concerning behavior. A lot could have escalated from that situation, and Mr. Brown is frankly lucky that that didn't happen. So based on the risk to the community safety, the state is requesting the $20,000 bail, pretrial services supervision if he's able to post, no firearms, and no contact with 4809 Kitsky Lane.
For the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Speaking with Mr. Brown, he has been in Reno for a short time, 33 years old. He does not have a residence, so I think that his MPRA score is appropriate. He is on Medicaid and SNAP right now. We were unable to contact a reference for him to verify any information, but any sort of bail is going to be de facto detention. So I'd be asking for an OR release with any conditions that you would find appropriate.
Given the weapon and the threats made, and I see that at least on the pretrial assessment report, it looks like he listed an address that is close to the Spirit Halloween store. So I don't know if he was staying there with people or what was happening, but I'm very concerned about the threats and the fact that he came back twice. I think that therefore some bail is necessary. I will take into consideration his relatively limited criminal history, but I'll set it at $10,000 bondable only. No contact with Michael Wooten or the address 4809 Kitsky Lane. And if he posts, he'll also be supervised by pretrial services and not allowed to have any weapons.
Okay.
Next, we have a first appearance for William Griffin. Good morning. Probable cause has been found. The public defender is appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So first of all, I want to point out that the likelihood of conviction on this case is very high. The incident is all captured on El Dorado surveillance, which we know is very high quality. All officers saw him being chased by the victim and was ultimately detained. So there's that. As far as criminal history, he scores a 6 on the risk assessment. His criminal history is remote. His most recent conviction is a PCS conviction misdemeanor out of California in 2014. He's got a felony conviction for domestic battery out of California in 2012. Then he's got numerous arrests in Illinois between 2003 and 2016 with no dispositions, including theft offenses, domestic violence offenses, hit and run, DUI, weapons offenses. So while his criminal history is remote, it is relatively extensive as far as arrests go. I don't know why Illinois didn't report any dispositions on those cases. But that's what I'm working with. I think given the likelihood of conviction on this case, the fact that he victimized a person by stealing their voucher, I do think bail is appropriate. I'm not requesting a significant amount of bail due to the remoteness of his criminal history, but I'm asking for $5,000 with pretrial services supervision, no contact with the victim, and no contact with the row casinos.
For the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. And speaking of Mr. Griffin, he is lived here for the last, has lived here for the last 2.5 years. He does stay at the CARES campus. He was working up until recently. It seems like he's starting a new job at a temp agency on Monday. Also, we were able to speak with his wife. She is having surgery on Tuesday on her neck, so he needs to be able to get out to take care of her. I think he's stressed out maybe because of the medical issues that are coming up, and he made a bad decision or lapse in judgment here. He will follow up with court requirements. He will do anything that's asked of the court. So I think an OR release is appropriate with pretrial services check-ins.
Well, this is a difficult case because Mr. Griffin, you have criminal history, but it's older. But your stability in the community is not great. And this is something that involved a victim. And I agree that likelihood of conviction is high, but you score a moderate on the risk assessment. And I believe that Valdez Jimenez compels me to put in place the least restrictive means, but I'm going to give you a warning. If you don't show up for your court dates or your supervision, there'll be a warrant for your arrest. And the next time you likely will have to wait in jail if you can't post bail until this case is resolved, which could be quite some time. So I'm going to release you. Your case is not over. Be real clear on that. I'm going to give you your next court date. It's August 20th at 9 a.m. You have to be here in Reno Justice Court August 20th at 9 a.m. You cannot go back to the row casinos for any reason. So all the downtown casinos, basically, you've got to stay away from, okay? You can't go there anymore. And they all have good security and good video systems to know when you walk in there, they'll see that you're there immediately. So don't do it. Don't go back there. You also have to stay away from the person that you allegedly took this voucher from. It's Alfred Perrine. I don't think you know him, but make sure if you see him again, you have to go the other way. And you're also, again, like I said, going to be supervised by pretrial services. You have to start your supervision right away. So if you're at the CARES campus, you need to make sure that you let them know that that's where you are and that you keep in touch and contact with them, or else they'll ask for a warrant for you not checking in with them. So make sure you follow through with all those things. And as long as you do, you can stay out of custody while the case moves forward.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Next, we have a first appearance for Jesus Monroy. Good morning. Probable cause has been found. I don't see that Mr. Monroy. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like Mr. Monroy, you indicated you were going to hire your own attorney. Did you reach out to anyone to represent you?
No, I could, Your Honor. I wanted to see if I could move forward with the public defender.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions, sir. How much money do you make per week?
It depends how much I work, from 1,400 to 1,700 a week.
Okay, and how many people are in your household?
Just 3, my fiance and my daughter.
Okay, so sir, given I assume you have bills and liabilities, I believe that's close enough to count for the public defender to represent you. You can hire someone anytime you want to, but they'll be with you from here on out. Let's start the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it looks like we did attempt to reach out to the named victim this morning. We were unable to leave her a voice message, but we did send her a text message and we haven't heard back. So I'm requesting a 1-day continuance for victim contact.
All right, so pursuant to Marcy's law, the state has a right to reach out to the alleged victim and to hear from them. So we will set this bail hearing for tomorrow morning. Next, we have a first appearance for Sean Rusin.
Your Honor, I did speak with Mr. Ruzin. So we can proceed. He did, I did speak with him, but he did not come to court. So we
All right,
can-
that's fine. Probable cause is found. Public defenders appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
So, Your Honor, the state's requesting bail in the amount of $5,000 for Mr. Rusin with pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs and alcohol if he's able to post that. Notably, he was last released from the Washoe County Sheriff's Office on July 28th, so just a few days before he was arrested on this offense. He scores an 11 on the risk assessment. He does already have some criminal history in 2026. He's got a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. That was the case on which he was just released. Misdemeanor convictions for no driver's license, no insurance, possession of drug paraphernalia. And then he looks like he's got a couple of traffic citations out of Reno Municipal Court this year as well. He's got criminal history, it looks like every year going back to 2019, and then he's got some in 2016. He's got a couple of felony convictions as well, a felony conviction for burglary with a probation violation in 2019, a felony conviction for manufacturing a controlled substance in 2009. It looks like in 2001 he's got a failure to appear warrant and a fugitive from justice warrant as well, and his criminal history goes all the way back to 1999. So, Your Honor, the state is requesting the $5,000 bail with pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs and alcohol if he's able to post.
For the defense.
I will submit on that, Your Honor.
All right, I think that's appropriate. He scores a high risk. He was just released from the jail and he has significant criminal history. The bail will be $5,000. That's bondable or 10% cash. If he posts, he'll be supervised by pretrial services and tested for drugs and alcohol. We have a first appearance for Steven Sauceda. Good morning. Probable cause is found. Public defenders appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Sauceda scores a 5 on the risk assessment. It is low given, I think, his related criminal history doesn't really reflect his risk as a DUI offender. He does have a suspended sentence out of Reno Municipal Court, which is on a 2025 misdemeanor conviction for trespassing. He has a 2024 misdemeanor conviction for DUI out of this court. He had 4 post-sentencing arrests for probation violations. He really struggled to maintain his sobriety. His suspended sentence was ultimately revoked despite specialty court's best efforts with him. He also has a misdemeanor conviction for revoked driver's license in 2024 out of Reno Municipal Court with an admission to failure to appear in that case. Then he's got his first DUI conviction in 2021, and then he's got a minor in possession of alcohol misdemeanor conviction in 2019. So Mr. Sauceda has struggled with alcohol abuse, it seems, for years now. And in this case, he was passed out in the travel lane with his vehicle in drive. So obviously very, very dangerous to the community. His breath test, it looks like, was a 0.189 and a 0.209, so very high. The state is concerned for the safety of the community, and for those reasons, I am requesting $20,000 bail with pretrial services supervision if he's able to post with testing for controlled substances and daily testing for alcohol, and no driving without all the valid driver's license, registration, and insurance.
For the defense.
Yes, we were able to speak with Mr. Sauceda, and verified his address he's been at for the last 5 years. He's also employed at Planet Fitness. He's been working there since January. He's also in school at Paul Mitchell. We also verified his phone number. His reference said that he will comply with court requirements as needed. I'd be asking for an OR release with, I think, an OSM device or some sort of monitoring scram device, if that's appropriate, with pretrial services testing and check-ins.
Well, I do remember Mr. Sauceda. I was the judge for many of his specialty court proceedings. I'm sad to see him here now facing a felony allegation that he could not get his sobriety on track. He had that significant intervention, which obviously did not work to stop future arrests from happening. So I think that $20,000 appropriate. He's got significant history. I think there's significant risk to the community. And if he posts the bond or the 10% cash, he'll be supervised by pretrial services, tested daily for alcohol, and also tested for controlled substances. Cannot drive without having the proper documentation for himself and the vehicle. And I think that'll be it. Thank you. Next, we have first appearance for Robert Wasilewski. Sorry if I mispronounced that name.
Pretty close. Wasilewski.
Wasilewski. Thank you. Probable cause has been found. The public defender is appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I did a great deal of research on this case last night, specifically into the defendant with regard to his criminal history. It struck me as odd that the arrest date and conviction date of his alleged prior felony DUI was the same day. That's just not even possible. So I determined it was actually a felony conviction for being under the influence of a controlled substance, not DUI. So the good news for the defendant is that this is apparently not a mandatory prison case. The bad news is that he does have a DUI conviction in 2024, and he has 11 prior felony convictions spanning 50 years. So that DUI conviction in 2024, it was a methamphetamine DUI. It looks like that same year he was also arrested for possession of a controlled substance. He was arrested for that felony DUI as well, but obviously we didn't proceed on that case. Or that charge. He did successfully graduate from adult drug court in October of 2025. The note in the file says that he ran a great program. Prior to that, he's got a 2018 felony conviction for trafficking in a controlled substance, a felony conviction for possession of meth in 2002. I won't go through all of them, Your Honor. He's got 11 of them, and they're almost all controlled substances, related to controlled substances. He did have his probation revoked in 3 cases, parole revoked in 3 cases. So he has struggled with compliance in his history. So on top of his criminal history, it's alarming that the stop in this case was based on citizen reports of a very dangerous drive pattern. Specifically, he was reported to have swerved all over the freeway and nearly crashed into multiple other motorists. And so for all these reasons, the state is requesting bail in the amount of $8,000 with pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs and alcohol if he's able to post.
For the defense.
Yeah, sure. I'd be asking for $3,000 bail. Based on the information, I believe it was initially going to be the probable cause was for the DUI, once a felon, always a felon. I do understand the state's concern with the safety of the community, but I think some conditions can be fashioned. Sounds like this was an alcohol was involved in this, so I would ask for an OSM device, pretrial services testing and check-ins. Also, I think based on his age and this incident, maybe some AA or NA meetings would also be appropriate. And with that, I'll submit, Your Honor.
So I will take into consideration the fact that this is not a felony allegation. But there still is significant criminal history and a risk to the community, so bail is appropriate. I will set it at $3,000. That's bondable or 10% cash. So sir, if you post this bail, you need to follow these rules. And if you don't, you can be taken right back to jail. So you are going to be supervised by pretrial services, and they're going to test you for drugs and alcohol. So if you post, you have to make sure that you follow the rules, don't get in any more trouble, and start that supervision and drug and alcohol testing if you make the bail.
Ma'am, I do have close to $500 on my books, and I was wondering if you can post bail with that.
So, sir, your attorney can give you information about that. I really can't help you there. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Should be able to.
Thank you.
$100 cash.
Next, we have a first appearance for Juanita Zepeda Carmona.
Sir, you can have back to unit.
What? You just post 300. Okay.
Good morning. Probable cause has been found. The public defender is appointed. Let's begin the bail hearing with the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Cepeda Carmona scores an 11 on the risk assessment. She was also arrested on a failure to comply warrant on her DUI second that's pending out of Reno Municipal Court. It looks like that case is set for bench trial on August 10th, so in just a few days. She did post on $5,000 bond in that case on June 18th. She had pretrial violations starting on July 14th for 2 positive alcohol tests and tampering with her scram device. Her bond was revoked and that failure to comply warrant issued on July 20th. She's got a 2024 misdemeanor conviction for DUI out of Reno Municipal Court. She failed to appear for her bench trial and had a pretrial violation for a positive alcohol test. She got a 2018 misdemeanor conviction for possession of marijuana and separately misdemeanor convictions for obstructing and petty larceny. 2017, she's got a felony conviction for possession of the identification of 10 plus people with the intent to defraud. That was out of California. So clearly, Your Honor, Ms. Cepeda Carmona is a risk of non-compliance, and she's a risk to the community. She violated pretrial supervision conditions in her other case multiple times over, including attempting to tamper with her scram device. And she was at warrant on that case for failing to comply when she was arrested on this case. So the state is requesting bail in the amount of $20,000 with pretrial services supervision with testing for drugs if she's able to post, daily testing for alcohol, and the scram monitor.
For the defense.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd be asking for $5,000 bail here. I do understand the state's concerned with her safety of the community and failure to appear or failure to comply, rather. But she does work as a dental assistant. She's been there for 1 month. She does have work tomorrow. She also gave us an address. She also has a child, a 6-year-old, where she has half custody. We did try to contact her references, but unfortunately they did not return our calls. So I think just based on her representations, her MPRA score is a little bit inflated. So I think some bail is appropriate. So I'd be asking for $5,000 with any other conditions that you see fit.
So, Ms. Phelps, correct me if I'm wrong, but if she is indeed convicted on the Reno Municipal Court case, this would be a 3rd-time allegation.
That's right, Your Honor.
So I'm concerned with that. I'm also concerned if she was at warrant status in Reno Municipal Court for using alcohol or other substances. So clearly she knew she was being watched, and that was a 2nd-time allegation. She still was not able to not only keep her sobriety, but is now arrested for potentially a felony allegation, even though it's not now. She was well aware of her trial that was pending. And again, even that case was at warrant. So I believe that monetary bail is appropriate. I'm going to set the bail at $15,000. That's bondable or 10% cash. If she posts a bond, she'll be supervised by pretrial services, tested daily for alcohol, and tested for drugs as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, counsel, I believe that was it for this morning. Any questions or clarifications needed?
None from me, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Anything, Mr. Watson?
No, Your